I want to talk about something that a lot of women are scared to say out loud. The brain stuff. The brain fog. The forgetting. Standing in the kitchen with zero idea why you walked in there. Reaching for a word you've used 1,000 times and it is gone. This episode is for you. And I want to say this up front. Your brain didn't break, girl. Your brain didn't break. So grab your coffee, sit down, and let's talk about it. Because it's literally just all about our favorite player, estrogen. And nobody probably mentioned that those two things are very much directly connected. A few weeks ago, before I started my estrogen patch, I went over to a friend's house. I've been there multiple times. She's an amazing friend. She has 4 dogs. I know all her dogs. I know all their names. I sat with her for 2 hours with her dog, the one of her 4 dogs, whose name I could not remember for the duration of 2 hours. And I couldn't bring myself to ask her. I couldn't bring myself to ask her what his name was. I felt horrible. I couldn't figure out his name till I was halfway home, and it took me 15 minutes to get halfway home. So for the record, your brain didn't break. Estrogen is just playing the game. So this is episode 19. I lied. We're making another one of the 82 Symptoms series. Today it's all about cognitive and neurological, 13 documented symptoms, all connected to estrogen, and most of them being blamed on something else entirely. Don't forget, perimenopause can start in your 30s. I did. I had no clue. Okay, here's what most people don't know about estrogen. It is not just a reproductive hormone. Estrogen is a neuroprotective hormone, meaning it protects your brain. It directly supports neurotransmitter production and function, serotonin, dopamine, and acetylcholine. These are the chemicals that run your mood, your focus, your memory, your ability to find a word mid-sentence. When estrogen is stable, those systems run efficiently. When it starts to fluctuate in perimenopause, every one of those systems feels it. Estrogen also supports blood flow to the brain. When estrogen surges and crashes, blood flow patterns shift. And your brain, which is extremely sensitive to its environment, registers that as cognitive symptoms. Now here's the part that I really want you to hear. The SWAN study, one of the longest running studies on women in the menopause transition, they documented a measurable cognitive dip during the transition period. Not progressive, not permanent, not dementia, take a breath, a transition period dip. And girl, I'm there. Tied specifically to hormone fluctuation. And in most women, it improved on the other side, aka once you've been through your 1 day of menopause. All right, now let's talk about brain fog. Let me be specific about what exactly it means, because it's not just feeling a little slow. It is cognitive processing that does not feel like your own. Cognitive, it's brain processing that doesn't feel like yours. Things that used to be easy are now hard. I had that happen the other night when I was doing some basic math for a game that we were playing, a card game, and I was like, everything just quit. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Logically, I know I'm not. Just the experience I had. Your thoughts start to feel like you're moving through something thick, like barely set up cement. You start a sentence and halfway through you lose it. All the time, meaning I'm doing that all the time. And the mechanism is layered. Estrogen fluctuation disrupts neurotransmitter function. Sleep disruption compounds it. Shocker. I know we're all shocked by this, right? Because your brain consolidates every memory and clears metabolic waste during deep sleep. All these things we didn't learn in school. Am I right? Add cortisol dysregulation and systemic inflammation, something I'm also dealing with, and you have multiple systems hitting your cognition at the exact same time. It's like plugging in too many cords to an outlet, even though you have an expander, you can fry everything. I was having drastic, I think, brain fog, and I was on oral progesterone. I was on vaginal estrogen for vaginal atrophy so that I don't lose all my parts and other things. And I'm taking testosterone gel on my leg. And I am on a slew of peptides. I love peptides. I have an amazing stack I run. They've changed my life. I will never menopause without them. But it still wasn't enough. Supplements. I've been doing all the things and it's still something was missing. And so I got an estrogen patch because when you use vaginal estrogen, it stays localized mostly. And my brain fog, my migraines, all the things that we've talked about, but my brain fog, I think I've seen a drastic improvement by wearing my menopause patch. Let's see, can I show you my patch? And you can't even see it. It's right there. I lost my chill. Thanks, Max, for the editing. All right, we're moving on to memory lapses. Memory lapses in perimenopause, rest assured, are almost always short term. You walk into a room, you have no idea why. You can't remember if you took your supplements 5 minutes ago. You lose things, you can't find your keys, you can't find your glasses that you were wearing on your head. You can't find your phone, even though it's in your hand. You forget appointments you just made. Oh my God. I did this a couple times. I really pissed off some people. But rest assured, this is distinctly different than dementia. Dementia affects long-term memory first and follows a progressive pattern. Perimenopause lapses are erratic. They correlate with hormonal fluctuation, and they are often worse at certain points in your cycle. They improve with sleep. Now, word retrieval, it's its own thing, and maybe one of the most disorienting ones. The word is there, you know it, you've used it 1,000 times, and the moment you need it, your brain can't access it. And you don't want to believe it's happening, so you sit there and you continue to try to come up with the word. Maybe think of it as a filing system with a broken retrieval function. The files aren't missing, the retrieval function is just broken for a little bit. The mechanism, acetylcholine, is supported by estrogen. I know we're not surprised, right? Acetylcholine is directly involved in memory and word access. So when estrogen fluctuates, acetylcholine gets disrupted. That is the word loss. The other day, I asked my partner if there was any of the soup with the chunks of soybean in it in the fridge. I was asking for miso soup. But I could not come up with the word miso. And I'll be honest, when I sat here and I thought about this, because I don't have everything scripted out, I thought, oh no, can I remember what it's called now? Do I have to yell at Max and find out what it is? No, thank God I remembered. Miso soup. But, you see what I mean? Okay, we're going to move on. And this one needs its own section because it is happening at scale. Women in their late 30s and early 40s are getting ADHD diagnosis for the first time. Difficulty concentrating, cannot sustain focus, starting tasks and not finishing, like opening the cabinets and then not closing them, and feeling disorganized in ways that they never were before. And in some cases, perimenopause is unmasking pre-existing ADHD pattern that estrogen was compensating for. And estrogen supports dopamine function. So when estrogen declines, the dopamine scaffolding, if you will, that was holding things together starts shifting. And what was manageable suddenly is not. In other cases, it's not ADHD at all. It's perimenopause. Full stop. And stimulant medication is being prescribed for a hormonal problem. And I do believe I know several women getting these diagnoses right now that make me wonder how much of this is hormones and how do we figure it out? So there's two distinct things: perimenopause unmasking pre-existing ADHD and perimenopause being mistaken for ADHD. All right, moving on. There are a few other neurological symptoms in this category that I want to name quickly, though, because they are alarming when they happen and nobody prepares you for them. Electric shock sensations, such as a brief electrical pulse feeling under the skin, often right before a hot flash, documented, hormonal, not cardiac, and not neurological damage. Next, tingling in your hands and feet. Paresthesia. Estrogen supports nerve conduction So when it fluctuates, you can get numbness, you can get pins and needles, which I loathe. If it is new and happening regularly for you, it's worth mentioning to your provider, but just know it's on the documented symptoms list. All right, next, vertigo and dizziness. Oh, I hate vertigo. Including benign positional vertigo, which spikes in perimenopause, estrogen influences fluid regulation in the inner ear. A lot of women get a vertigo diagnosis with no explanation of why it started in perimenopause. Now you know. Tinnitus, ringing of the ear, or ringing in the ears. Estrogen loss affects the tissues in the ear canal. Shocker, I know, we're also shocked. And auditory cells. New onset tinnitus in perimenopause is documented and frequently goes unexplained. So now I want to go into honest versions and ideas of what might help. Because there is no one single fix for perimenopause brain fog, but I can tell you there are actual real levers. Okay, number one, sleep first. Sleep is mission critical. I know you probably know this and you're rolling your eyes at me right now, but bear with me because I was on the other side of this and have fluctuated in and out of it. Your brain consolidates memory and clears metabolic waste during sleep. If your sleep is significantly impaired or disrupted, everything else on this list works way less well. Progesterone decline is the primary driver of perimenopause sleep disruption. Go back to episode 9 where I cover it in detail. Next, 2, blood sugar stability. Your brain runs on glucose. Unstable blood sugar means unstable cognition. Protein at every meal. Eat a complete protein. Bear with me. When I was taught all of this a long time ago about eating protein, you need to be focusing on complete proteins, ones that had a mother. Veggie, beans, those are incomplete proteins. Those are fine too, but really focus on animal protein if that is your jam. Avoid eating carbohydrates all alone. Don't just grab crackers and nosh them down. Bad idea. Candy, bad idea. Bread, bad idea. The things that you tend to crave, those are the things you want to maybe reconsider. Watch the alcohol, and I don't mean watch it as it goes to your mouth. I mean, maybe consider not consuming as much or not at all for a while. These aren't weight loss strategies, y'all. These are just brain strategies. Okay, 3, omega-3 fatty acids. The brain is largely made up of fat. Who knew? DHA specifically supports neurological function, and most of us are not getting enough from food alone. A quality fish oil or algae-based omega-3 is worth looking at. Again, make sure you're looking for third-party tested. If you want some ideas, just shoot me a message. All right, 4, movement. Moving thy body. Exercise increases your BDNF, your brain-derived neurotropic factor. What is that? It's basically fertilizer for your brain cells. And you don't need intense workouts. A walk counts. Resistance training counts. You don't have to do CrossFit and HIIT workouts unless you want to. I love them, but you don't have to do them. Movement is one of the most evidence-supported interventions for perimenopausal brain function. And I can tell you, when I'm not moving, I definitely know this is true. For me, doesn't mean it has to be true for you. It's just my experience. And lastly, 5th, the hormone conversation. For some women, for some of us, hormone therapy meaningfully improves cognitive symptoms. But we are human and we are not a one-size-fits-all species. We discussed this in the treatment episode conversation covered in episode 16. If your cognitive symptoms are significantly affecting your function, it belongs in that conversation with your provider. Things that I noticed personally that have helped with my brain are Semax and Selenk, which are both peptides. Changes in my supplementation, making sure that I'm getting my magnesium glycinate, my vitamin C, my beef organs. Like, I have a long list. When I don't take my supplements, because I loathe packing them all up in the little boxes, I don't want to do it. But when I stop taking them, I, I know it. It might take a few days, but I quickly regret it. I have changed the way my room is set up. I sleep alone. If you've caught on to that, I've talked about it in the past. I have room darkening shades. I have a giant fan. When it's wintertime, I close my vent in my room because I don't want the heat blowing on me. I shut my door. I have a whole routine that I participate in before I go to bed and what I do in bed before I shut out the lights. All of these have made all of these things put together like a puzzle have made a measurable difference in how I navigate the world. Not that I don't have fluctuations, not that something doesn't go sideways and my estrogen goes wonky, but this is what has drastically improved for me. Plus HRT. You can pry that shit from my cold dead hands. That is all I'm gonna say. Not going anywhere. So remember, no single clear cut, simple fix. I'm sorry. Just remember, perimenopause cognitive symptoms are not forever. It doesn't mean you're having dementia. It doesn't mean you're, going crazy. They're not proof that you can't handle things. They're documented, they're hormonal, and it's a transitional phenomenon. 13 symptoms in this category alone, all connected to estrogen, all starting for women in their early 30s potentially. Understanding what is happening, we know doesn't fix it overnight, but it can stop the fear spiral. It can stop the anxiety. It can stop the doom scrolling. And the fear spiral, as we know, makes every cognitive symptom worse. Once I started knowing these things and understanding these things, I could be so much more gentle on myself and not be in so much fear, especially around the dementia. I've had it around so many things in the last 15 years, but knowing how important estrogen is, oh my God, has opened my eyes. So I'd love it if you drop me a comment. What cognitive symptom hit you the hardest? What one surprised you the most? What are you going through? I want to know your stories. Did you get a misdiagnosis before someone connected it to perimenopause? Has anyone ever connected it to perimenopause? I want to know. I read them. I respond to them. Please reach out to me if you want. Remember, nothing I share here is medical advice. I am not a doctor. I'm a holistic nutrition student. I'm a coach. I'm a mother of two. I am a perimenopausal woman living through it in real time, making it a conversation, reducing to eliminate the stigma. The stigma. Do your own research, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And girl, if you haven't done something to love yourself today, please go do that. And if you don't know what that looks like, let me know. I'll help you out. Until next time, all my love.